Tinubu's forged Chicago State University certificate saga has come up again. The matter has refused to die. This time, a group has resurrected it in faraway United States. And since People's Gazette broke this news, his supporters have been on a roll. They've been trying to deflect the issue, saying that the United States wants something from Nigeria, and if Tinubu gives them what they want, that this matter will go away. It still doesn't mean that he didn't forge the certificate. Now, for those who don't know the backstory, this has been in the airwaves since the presidential election of 2023. Atiku Abubakar, with his lawyers, went to Chicago, where he was able to obtain a subpoena and summon Chicago State University to testify on what they know about the certificate that Tinubu tendered to iNEC to contest the presidential election. When they saw that certificate, they rejected it. They denied the certificate, that it didn't come from them. They also tendered copies and samples of the certificate they issued in the late 70s, early 80s, covering the period Tinubu purportedly graduated from the university. None of these samples matched the one Tinubu submitted to iNEC. Also, they tendered samples of certificate they issued around the time Tinubu made an official request to them, demanding they issue him a fresh certificate because he lost the earlier one issued to him. Also, this copy doesn't match the one he's parading, and mind you, they acknowledged under oath in court that they received a letter from him and prepared the certificate for him to come and pick it up, but he never showed up. Just like the certificate that was issued to him when he purportedly graduated, the university confirmed under oath that there is no record anywhere where he picked up the certificate. So what it means is that he just wanted an alibi. He wanted it to be on record that he applied officially to Chicago State University to obtain a copy of his certificate, but he never showed up to pick it up. He just forged his own. Like they said during the time the news broke, one man claimed that anyone can print his own certificate. So following the evidence they tendered in court under oath, it has been established that the certificate he is parading wasn't issued by them. And since the issuing authority, according to Nigerian laws, denies a certificate, it means the certificate is forged. Of course, the courts in Nigeria threw the evidence away. The Supreme Court, instead of admitting the evidence, they reprimanded Atiku Abubakar on behalf of Tinubu. Now, a Chicago-based law firm, Options Law Group, has prepared what is called a thermonuclear lawsuit against Chicago State University to force them to expunge Tinubu's name from their university. In fact, they want them to take such an action, and if they accept to take that action, it will mean expunging the name Bola Tinubu from their records, which will mean that he never attended the university. They gave them a 14-day ultimatum to do that, and if they don't respond, if their attorney or anyone representing the Chicago State University doesn't respond to them, they will now move to court to obtain a court order that will force them to do that. The reason they are making this request is because, going by the evidence Chicago State University tendered under oath when Atiku Abubakar went to court in Chicago, it means that it wasn't this same Tinubu that they admitted in the 70s, because the person they admitted, despite bearing the same name, has a female gender. Yes, and we all know that Tinubu is not female. Another reason the law firm is citing is the credentials that Tinubu used to obtain the admission in the university. The secondary school he claimed to have attended in the early 70s wasn't in existence at the time he quoted. Yes, he said he graduated from secondary school around 1970 or 71, thereabout, but the school wasn't in existence at the time. In fact, the school was founded in 1974. So effectively, what the law firm is telling Chicago State University is that they can't build something on nothing. Since Tinubu didn't attend the secondary school he claimed to have attended, which is basically the main qualification for obtaining admission into Chicago State University, he wasn't qualified at the time he obtained that university admission. So they are telling them to strike off his name, erase all the records, because he wasn't qualified ab initio to be granted admission. So truly, they named the lawsuit appropriately. It is a thermonuclear lawsuit. They want to erase everything. That 2-year diploma certificate he's been brandishing all along, they want to erase it officially. And this case is not new. For those hearing it for the first time, it was revealed by David Hundeyin in 2022 during the presidential election campaigns, And Atiku Abubakar did a follow-up by going to court in Chicago during the presidential election tribunal. Maybe if he had followed up in 2022 during the campaigns, he had gone to court to obtain the evidence, maybe the evidence would have come out before the presidential election. But even at that, the courts in Nigeria cannot be predicted. They might have also thrown everything away. Yes, they are shameless, and it's not as if this is the first time the Supreme Court is hearing Tinubu's certificate forgery matter. Gani Fawemi brought the matter to the Supreme Court, but he didn't have the power to challenge the authenticity of the certificate. That's the power of the state. What Gani Fawemi challenged at the Supreme Court at the time was for the judges to compel the Inspector General of Police at the time to take the matter to court. Yes, because he proved that he forged the certificate, that all the certificates he tendered to iNEC to contest the governorship election in Lagos State in 1999 were false. They were all forged. And like already said, that was the time it was revealed that the government college Lagos he quoted to have attended in 1970 came into existence in 1974. So he couldn't have attended the government college. But the Supreme Court failed to compel the Inspector General to charge him to court. Yes. So you can imagine the effects of corruption when people fail to do the right thing, to do their jobs. It wasn't as if by that time the Nigerian constitution wasn't against certificate forgery for political office holders. It was not a new amendment, but they still failed to do their jobs. Nigerians are suffering it today. If they had done the needful during his first time in office in Lagos, maybe that would have stopped him from contesting for second term. But they failed to do their job. He knew he would face the same problem. That was why he wrote to Chicago State University to issue him a new certificate claiming that he lost the earlier one issued to him. So basically why he did that was he didn't want to run into trouble by submitting the earlier one that Gani took him to Supreme Court for. He wanted to submit a fresh one, but he ended up not going to Chicago or sending in an address where they would send in the new certificate. He just printed a new one for himself. And this time around, a fellow candidate also challenged it, and the Supreme Court still failed again to do the job. Also, the fact that they didn't do their job doesn't mean that he didn't commit the offense, that he didn't forge the certificate. Going by evidence, he didn't even attend a secondary school to start with, because he first claimed to have attended one secondary school in Ibadan. In fact, the school started organizing a welcome back for him because he had become governor at the time. And when old boys of the school heard about it, none of them could recognize him or his name. The school became so embarrassed to the extent that they had to call off the ceremony. So all his political life, he has never shown any certificate from any secondary school where he attended. All the two he quoted in the past have all been debunked as lies. So it means he never attended any secondary school, despite whatever the courts have decided in the past. And now the university has been claiming to have attended. They want to expunge his records to officially declare that he never attended the university. Where is he going to fall back on here? All these prove that he wasn't qualified to contest for governor of Lagos in 1999. He wasn't also qualified to contest for president in 2023, but he played the system. And people wonder why things are not working under him. It simply means he doesn't have the knowledge required to run a state like Nigeria. Yes, he doesn't understand economics, the basics. That's why people are suffering, and they are busy gloating that things will work out. They are telling Nigerians it will take more than 4 years for his failed policies to start to materialize. But they've started campaigning. Why are they not waiting it out also? They are supposed to wait it out. Maybe in 4 years' time, if their policies start to materialize, they will now start to campaign and start telling Nigerians, we told you when we introduced these policies, we told you to wait it out. Now that they have started to materialize, please vote us again to continue. No, nothing is materializing. The same way he's been playing Nigerians since the 90s is the same way he's playing Nigerians today. It is left for people to say enough is enough in 2027. We won't allow you to play us a second time because it will mean that we are now fools. Thanks for watching.